Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend and are as pumped to talk about credit scores as I am. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Paul Novak and I absolutely love saving, investing, and spending money. Hopefully you're learning something from these videos and finding this information helpful. If you do, I encourage you, smash that like button and subscribe. Comments are always welcome. If there's questions that you have on the topics or any topic recommendations, post them in the comments below. We respond back to all comments. And again, if you're interested in investing, click on the link we've got posted below to Robinhood. If you click on our link, you'd be supporting our channel and you also get a free stock with signing up. And how many things nowadays do you get for free? And as I say in every single video, right, I'm not a financial professional. I'm just a guy that loves making his money work for him and sharing these tips and tricks with others on the videos. If you are going to do investing, I would encourage you, look at other resources, do your own homework first before putting money in. As always, I'm not affiliated with anybody. I only share products in here that I use myself and support. So if it works for me, I'll share it with you. And with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so today we're talking credit scores, and I wanted to cover them for two main reasons. Number one, I think a lot of people know what credit scores are, but they don't really know how they get calculated. And they also don't understand just how important credit scores can be. So today I want to break that down by going over just two basic examples to show that importance and really quantify how important these credit scores are. And once I go through those examples, I'm actually going to go into an app called Credit Karma. I've got it on my phone. I use it. I love it. It's really simple. And it's actually how I monitor my credit score. And I'm going to walk through the factors that impact a credit score. And I'm going to start with lowest impact to highest impact. All right, so let's start with some of those examples and why credit scores are just so important. The first example I'm going to get into is looking at taking out a loan and how having a higher or lower credit score can impact the rates you get for a loan. And then I'm also going to take a look at credit cards, because obviously if you've watched my other videos, you know how important those are to me. So I'm going to start with looking at a conventional loan, and I'm going to look at mortgages. Most people at some point in their lifetime will end up taking out a mortgage. You know, and looking at the difference when taking out a mortgage, there's a huge difference just between somebody who's got a 780 credit score or higher or a credit score of 699 and below. Just having that difference in credit score is enough to make that interest rate go up 0.5%. And a lot of people would think, well, 0.5%, that doesn't seem that large. Well, if you look at taking out a home loan for $240,000, that 0.5% can increase what your monthly payment is by $62 a month. And most people would say $62 a month is not that big of a deal. But when you really start breaking down the numbers, if you've got a 30-year loan, $62 a month adds up to over $22,000 excess money paid over the duration of the loan. And I even think some people would say, okay, $22,000 over 30 years, again, not the end of the world. But now I'm going to share with you a really crazy example. So I want to talk about opportunity costs. So instead of having that $62 not paid out, which only saved you $22,000, we're going to flip the script on that and say, what if I took the $62 and invested it into the market, right? Because if you're not paying it towards the mortgage, you now have that $62 available. And when I crunched the numbers for this video, I could not believe at how much money it actually made. So I'm going to keep it simple. You take that $62 and let's say you invest it into Robinhood. And I'm just going to pick a simple ETF, SPY. I talk about it in other videos, and really that fund is designed to give you the market average of the S&P 500. So you're not getting these crazy high returns, but you are getting what the market average is, which has been 14% over the last 20 years. Right? So you take that $62 a month, and instead of paying it towards a mortgage, you invest it, getting that return. How much money do you think you have when the 30 years is up? You're not going to believe this number. it is over $340,000. So you literally, at the end of your mortgage, have enough money that you could buy an entire other house because your credit score was high enough you didn't have to pay that in interest. So I just think that, $62 a month doesn't seem crazy. Maybe even $22,000 over 30 years doesn't seem that crazy. But you've got to agree with me that $340,000 30 years later is a huge factor. And the next thing that I want to look at is credit cards. I've talked about it in other videos. I'll post a link. We're making right now $1,200 a month on our credit card with what we're spending. And the fact of the matter is, if we didn't have a credit score that was 750 or higher, we'd be missing out on that $12,000 a year. We wouldn't be able to have the credit card we have today. All right, so now putting into perspective on why these credit scores are so important, I'm actually gonna, like I said, walk you through the app with Credit Karma to show you what makes up a credit score, just to help you understand it better. All right, so for me, I'm pulling up the app Credit Karma here. I highly recommend it. I've been using it for a long time. For me, I like it. It's really simple. It works out well. And if you go to this Credit Karma homepage, and it's free, right? I don't have to pay for this. It shows here my 2 credit scores through TransUnion and through Equifax. I'll just click on the TransUnion one. I feel like that's a little bit more of a popular one. And as you get in here, the first thing you're going to notice on the app is it's going to say what your credit score is, but it's also going to break down whether it's up or down, and it'll color code it. So I think the max is 850. It shows us at 824. You can also click on what's changed, which is nice. And as your credit score goes up or goes down, you can kind of see why that's happening. The other thing that I like is just this brief graph of score history. So you can look at 3 months, you can look at 6 months, you can look at a year, and it'll kind of break down where you've been. But then for the credit factors, that's really what I want to explain in this video, is just not do a review of Credit Karma, but explain to you how your credit score gets calculated. I'm going to start with low impact and then work my way up. So if I start with hard inquiries, just to keep it simple, anytime you apply for a line of credit, that creditor is going to pull your credit report. And when they pull it, that's considered a hard inquiry. So they'd like to see the least amount possible over the last 2 years. Ideally, you'd have 0. As you can see in here, we have 2 of them. So we took out an auto loan a couple of years ago. That's actually going to fall off by the end of this month, which is nice because these only stay on for 2 years. And then we are looking at investing in real estate. So we're taking out a mortgage and we have a hard inquiry on our report for that, which is relatively recent. But as you can see, we have 2 of them in here. And because of those 2, that is actually negatively impacting our credit score. Now, it's a low impact like it states, but there is still an impact. Total accounts. So as you can see here, which I like, it's got this bar graph on the screen that says, okay, 0 to 5 is red, 21 plus is going to give you your max. As you can see in here, we have 16 total accounts. And really what they're looking at, I think a lot of people don't know this, is they're looking at open and closed accounts. So if I scrolled up here, you'll be able to see, the accounts that we have open, our mortgage, our auto loan, credit cards, but then also credit cards and things that we've had in the past that are closed also count positively toward this, toward your total accounts. So it's not just that you have to have 21 accounts open and active. It's just important that you get up to 21 accounts to get the max benefit of the score. Average age of credit history. So again, we're focused on loans, we're focused on credit cards, borrowing. It'll state right in here, our oldest account is 16 years old, our newest is only a year old. Every time you open a new account, you're actually lowering that number. And as you can see here, to get the max score, you need 9+ years of average credit history. So this doesn't mean you get one account and just sit on it and never open anything up again. Obviously, that's not an option, right? Even us, we're looking at taking out a new mortgage, which is going to lower that number. But they're trying to get to 9+ years to max out the benefit. Then I'll go back again, and that actually gets us into medium impact. So the two low impacts are the hard inquiries and the total accounts. Now as we continue to work up this list, it's going to have a greater impact on your credit score. And the next one, now we're actually getting into high impact, is derogatory marks. And again, it's just a fancy word to say stuff in collections, right? If you don't pay your bills and you have stuff go to collections, that's going to have probably the biggest negative impact on your credit score. You can see here 4 or plus, 4 or more things in collections will kill you. They want to see 0. And I can tell you, and it says right here at the top, this stuff stays on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. That's not a joke. I had stuff in collections when I was 18. It does not come off, and it does strongly negatively impact your credit. Then I'll go up again. So credit card utilization. I think this is something that people really need to understand. And when I was younger, I did not. So as you can see here right now, it says our credit card utilization is 0%. It is not about, for your credit score, how much stuff you charge. It's about what percentage are you using. And this frustrated the heck out of me early on. When I had my first credit card, all I had was a $500 limit. And there were times that I had $400 charged on that credit card, which to me wasn't a big deal. My very next paycheck, if I had to, I could have paid off the $400. But what I didn't realize was that was having a huge negative impact on my credit score because my credit card utilization was through the roof. Where on the flip side of that, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, right, had available credit to her of, let's say, $25,000. Right, and she'd have $5,000 on her credit cards, which she could not just pay off right away. But her credit score was actually better because that percentage, that utilization percentage, was smaller than mine. So one of the things that I would recommend if you're really trying to boost your credit score is to have a lot of credit available to you. Just make sure that you don't use very much of it. So all joking aside, something that we do is if I scroll down, you hear me talk about my Citi card and I use it all the time. We do have these other credit cards out there. Wells Fargo's got a almost $17,000 limit. Capital One's got an $8,000 limit, but I never use them. I do want to make sure that they never lapse out. So in the beginning of every single year in January, I'll literally go to the convenience store and buy a candy bar on each credit card, pay the credit card off in full that pay period, and put them away back in a folder and never use them again. Because if they did go away, my total limit would actually drop, which means every time I'm using my Citi card, my utilization would be a lot higher if I didn't have those credit cards and having them. So that's a nice little tip or trick is you want to have a lot of credit available to you, you just don't want to use it. And I would say for us, we always probably hover in that 0 to 1% range, right? Because we're not charging that much. And then the last thing on here is payment history. And this is high impact and says the highest impact. And you can see the percentage breakdown here. They want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time, right? So up here, this is just kind of the details in here of payment history. If I did scroll out of here, and I'm not going to go through all this right now, but you can see underneath all this where it says view full credit report. If you clicked on that, you could actually see all your payees, and it breaks down by month, whether you paid on time or how late you are. There's a lot of great information in here, but for the sake of this video, I really just wanted to go over the factors that break down your credit and how to increase your credit score. And yeah, you can see it all really here, really simply. So Credit Karma, like I said, highly recommend them. So hopefully you found the information helpful. That was kind of the biggest impacts that we had to credit scores and really what makes up a credit score. And I shared that example about the mortgage because I think it really covers two topics that are really key. One is it talks about how to save more money and not pay it in loans, but it also really plugs why investing is so important. I mean, if you go and look at that example, with only $62 a month, doing that for 30 years, you could make over $300,000. If that isn't enough to get you started investing with Robinhood, then heck, I don't know what is. And as always, if you're interested in supporting my channel, right, smash the like button and subscribe. As we always say, comments are always welcome. We've got the link to Robinhood down below if you want to get started investing. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you back here next week where we're talking more about saving, investing, and spending money. See you guys later.